Hello. Welcome back to Buffalo House Podcast. I'm Crikey Craig.
And I'm Brit-ish.
So, as I was talking about last week...
Yes.
I finally...
Continue that story. It was... Oof.
I went on my trip down the river with I was guiding some tourists. They asked. It was like, yeah, it was fun. Whatever, you know. But, so...
I'm sorry. It's a good start. It's a good joke.
At the... So...
Sorry, yes, you and Johnny. It's a great opening. Should we elaborate or try to carry on?
So as we're going down the river, I'm showing them there's some gazelles gazing on the horizon there, and one of the tourists noticed that there's a crocodile coming up alongside the boat, and he kind of starts to look like he's going to go a little bit nippy, and he does a little nip at the boat, and so I get down there, I'm like, hey, I stick my face in the water, I'm like, hey, what the fuck you doing? You know what he says? You know what he says to me? Nothing, there's a crocodile. He fucking nipped in my face. And I was like, fuck you! Hey, and then they got scared. I was like, no, it's fine. I know this guy. He's a little dick. He's fine.
It was Charlie.
Yeah, it's Charlie.
Charlie bit my finger once.
It's terrible.
Fun. But those tourists are not. I understand most people don't go on rivers.
Yes. They don't understand. You can have a relationship.
They should understand that animals can't speak.
You can't talk to them.
No, we're not Dr. Dolittle. I know a Dr. Dolittle. He doesn't do much. He does very little. But he doesn't talk to animals. He talks to himself at times. I do actually really know a Dr. Dolittle. It's weird.
That said, I told these guys, like, hey, you gotta stick away from there. He kind of, he was a bit egging them on. He had his hand out in the water, and he was kind of trying to get him to come over for a picture because he wanted a picture. I was like, hey, what the fuck, hey, and then he got him there.
Everybody knows crocodiles don't like their pictures taken, though.
You can't do that. Yeah, they're not. They don't like photos.
Do you have my hat? I think mine was a bit more squished than yours.
Maybe.
Oh, well. You bent the rim. You bent the rim on one of these hats.
I didn't
How
mean
did you
to.
bend it, actually?
I think it just got crushed in the... At some point, well... I'll tell you. A couple weeks ago, when we were doing that, I was showing off some rhinos. We found a couple of them out.
Tuesday.
Yes, we didn't realize that it started getting a little bit too close to a lion enclosure that we knew, area.
Yeah, it's not really an enclosure.
Not enclosure, but for the sake of
the land
claiming the land.
Is an enclosure.
The rhinos are getting close, and so I got to chase them. I'm trying to run them off, and it accidentally fell off my head. And then all of a sudden, there's another rhino. He chomped all over it on it. So surprisingly, it's pretty sturdy. It took a rhino stomp.
It's British made.
British made.
I mean, an Australian hat wouldn't last you nearly as well.
Maybe.
I doubt it.
I had a good one for a while before this one. That was Australian made. It's still alive. I just didn't want to really do much more damage to it.
Actually, if you have my hat and I have your hat, this is Australian made.
Yes.
Yeah. We should definitely get different clothing. Would you look at that?
Oh.
We've got a call. Would you like to answer, Brandon?
Yes.
Yeah, we forgot to mention we're opening up to callers.
Hello.
You'll put her on speaker.
Hello. What's your question? No? Yes.
Hello? Oh, tell the name. It's Nicole.
This is Nicole. Hello. What's your question?
My
What kind of question is that? Hey, oi, fuck you!
Fuck you. Just truly. Goodbye.
What kind of question? Anyways, as I was saying,
I have to.
this took up to a rhino stomp. It's a good stomp. He was charging pretty hard, but you know what? We got him away. Saw one of the lions kind of tried to take him off. Someone, I think, old Jim over there, he took the truck, he drove on by, scared it off. Everything was fine.
When did Jim get his license back?
He did not, but it's safari, so
No rules.
when you in need, you have to do it. The rhinos trust me, so I need to run with them. Jim, they just maul him. They get horny and they'd horn him. Yes.
You know,
So
I choked.
you choked.
I choked.
That's not good. You can't do that.
This was that Tuesday trip, the one I couldn't make it to.
Yes. Oh.
She's calling back. We're gonna let that one go.
Anyways,
We should. It's opening of the episode. We should inform the viewers. We're opening up this episode. We know we've done what is this 212 now?
yes.
The Safari Zone.
So
Buffalo
many.
House.
Yes.
So we figured we've talked long enough. We should let you all talk. So we're not live, but those of you that know we're recording are allowed to call in.
We will take a call from one of you, but it's
That's not a call. That's my cousin who would like to ask for money. But little does he know, safaris.
we don't.
We
Everything
don't
we do
make
is for
money.
charity.
All of it.
All of it
My favorite
for the animals.
My favorite individual, Steve Irwin, rest his soul. He once said
God bless.
that he loves money. And now you might think, well, money's the root of all evil. How could someone so good, such as Steve Irwin, love money? He's got a very long quote about how money would help him preserve nature and save more animals. And that's the only reason I would want money.
Yes.
That and bitches. We should answer it again. She has another question, or she might
You
be going
answer
to
this
yell at
time.
us. Whoop. We've got a little bit of time for you. What's your question, Nicole? Is that?
Yes, my name is Mom, and I would like to know what your take is on Robert Pattinson being Batman.
Oh, that we were going to use our catchphrase, but I'll let Brandon answer that. I will give my 2 cents. I think he's a beautiful man. Brandon, your take?
He's gonna do a beautiful job.
Wow, I agree.
Anyways,
Thank you. Oh boy.
All right.
That's a good question.
that was a great question, actually.
So-
how do you feel about his performance in The Lighthouse? Or was that? I'm sorry, you're Australian. I forgot you don't watch intellectual movies.
I don't watch movies.
How do you know who he is?
I heard he did a
It was
thing.
the vampire thing, wasn't it?
No,
Okay.
he's the Harry Potter.
Oh yes.
He did the thing in there, and it was great.
I have a Build-A-Bear workshop, I guess just a Build-A-Bear, that was
oh, yeah.
during the Harry Potter stuff.
That fan mailed it into you. He's like, "Hey, I heard you like
from
the Harry
Pattinson
Potter."
himself.
So
you
I
know
mailed.
what that mad lad did?
Mad Lad, thank you, Mad
you
Lad,
can,
for
you can
doing
put
it
a
for us.
custom sound into your Build-A-Bears.
It is still appreciated.
What this mad lad did was he put the band that plays when his character dies in the movie. Now, you know the scene. He
Yes.
comes back, him and Harry. Harry's crying over him. His father's screaming, "My boy!" But the band keeps playing.
He's the best.
That mad lad put that into my Hufflepuff Build-A-Bear bear.
Wow.
And when you squeeze his hand to show affection, the band plays.
Wow.
It's beautiful. Also, he is actually a vampire, so perfect fit for Batman.
Perfect.
Who has to do with bats, not necessarily vampires, although he kicked Dracula's ass on several occasions.
You did it.
I think
So-
at least twice.
But
Continue.
back to our
with
safari adventures.
Wednesdays. Wednesday's adventure. What did you do?
Wednesday.
You know,
So-
I was away on my trip.
Yes. No. Tell me what you did on Wednesdays.
About my trip. On Wednesday, I didn't go to the safari.
No.
I did very little adventuring. My friend Nicholas, you know Nick,
Yes.
of the brothers Jonas,
Yes.
he got a board game. I'm sorry, he got a video game that was based off of a board game, and he wanted me to come over and play it, but I was busy babysitting that day, so I couldn't go. I haven't heard back from him in a moment. I think he likes to play video games a little too much. He gets fully immersed into them, and he gets, in a sense, sucked into them, and basically becomes the character. I haven't seen him since that Wednesday.
Yes.
It's now what? Oh, it's almost Wednesday again. It's been nearly a week.
Oof. Well, you know, I'm sure he's gonna turn up
Eventually.
eventually.
It was some game that started with a J. I don't play many games.
I
think
would not
The last
know.
video game I played, I think, was Diablo 2.
Was it jump rope?
No, that's not a video. It might be a video game.
Who knows?
VR
I haven't
game,
seen
perhaps.
like the last system
VR
I
would be
had.
fun.
We have an Atari Pong over in the over with this
Atari.
power, and that is what we play. I am great at Pong. Great at Pong.
Atari Pong? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Great at bouncing the balls right back and forth. It's easy, simple. It's simple. I'm great at it.
You need to upgrade. I have Pong on the ColecoVision.
Oh,
The controller is much more sensitive. You can hit them balls all day long.
I need to do that because if I can probably beat you on a Pong in my Atari,
Highly doubtful.
once I get better
Highly doubtful.
at the what comedy days? What was that you said?
I don't know what you just said.
I don't know what you said. Whatever system you were saying, I don't know what it is.
The ColecoVision.
The ColecoVision.
Yeah.
Now, once I get one of those, I'm gonna get better.
You can borrow mine.
That works.
Now, I do want to point something out.
Yes.
Speaking of video games and our American brethren, Nicholas, I don't know if you knew this, he's very much American.
Yes.
Not very popular, but very American. He watches these two gentlemen, very similar to us, very dumb, but occasionally they're witty. They also have a podcast where they just release information and stories that are mainly just for them. They have a bunch of dumb bits that they do that drag on for far too long, but they stick to their guns. But
What kind of guns? What guns?
they're American, all of them.
Oh, that's fair.
Yes, you know
That's fair.
Americans. They don't have any knives. They're really
See, I got me. See, that's the thing is, even me too. I got me old rifle out in the back. I have to just for protection in case I need it.
Well, mine's right there. We've got another call coming in, and then I'll finish my story about the Americans. Let's answer this one. Brandon, would you like to answer?
Hi, what's your question?
This is Courtney for the viewers.
Hello, you guys at the Buffalo House Podcast Safari. How you doing? What's your question?
What color is the sky?
Well,
Why don't you just go outside and look? Because
it's pretty dark out there. It's blue.
I think it's blue. I think.
I fuck you.
Now, going back to my American brethren, the podcast people that I have, the little blonde boy, he's got a lovely girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She's also blonde. I almost said also a little blonde boy. She's not a boy. She's a lovely lady.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to the American brethren. Oh, this tea is awful. I just want to put that out there. But she's a great woman and he appreciates you greatly despite the dumb things that he puts you through. But going back to them, they did an episode. They did an episode where they talked in these dumb accents the entire time.
Yes.
And they were, I guess, adventurers.
Yes.
Almost like they were trying to convey us. And I never understood why they picked those accents, because there are well-known American adventurers, such as Indiana Jones. I know he's fictional, but Indy was an American, isn't he?
Yes.
Why couldn't they just do American adventurers?
Well, because
It might have been
it's not as
easier.
fun. They're not as fun.
Quite right.
They're boring as shit.
Americans are.
All
very
they do
much
is just like, man, this is really fucking awesome. Like, look at this hill. It's really green. I love this green. It's like, it just it's so vibrant and it makes me feel alive. And that is just some bullshit. Who cares? The air. That's what you should be. All the smells, the depth of the earth. That's what you should enjoy. Not it's so luscious and green.
No, I can agree with that to an extent. The Americans
Yes.
are.
I guess green is a nice color.
I prefer blue. Blue is
I like a nice red leaf in the fall.
a nice red leaf. That's the thing about.
For American leaves, there's not many of that out here.
That's true.
Maybe.
Do you even have trees in Australia? Yes, you do. The pandas not pandas. My apologies. The koalas like to fall out of them and attack people. What are those called again? Death bears?
Coconuts.
Coconuts.
They fall on the trees and they kill. Coconuts fall on the trees. They kill at least 100 people a year. It's dangerous.
I didn't know you had coconuts. Truly, I didn't. I honestly don't know much about Australia. I don't know what the people sound like. I hear they
Honestly,
sound
I don't
similar.
know much about outside of any of the safari areas in any world. I'm pretty closed in.
I'm sorry. Let's take a step back. You said any world.
Where are we?
Have you been to safaris in other worlds?
Well, other continents, I should say.
Continents. Okay. 'Cause other worlds.
Well, there was this one time, but I think that was just because I accidentally definitely ate a bad mushroom in a hunger. Okay, so you know what? I'll tell that story.
Yeah. I too have a mushroom story. It involves
Yes.
an owl. But continue with yours.
Well, I remember I ended up ran out of gas out in some area. So I'm walking away with this empty canister. I'm out of water. I don't got any food. I'm getting pretty starving.
Would you say you walked roughly 100 miles?
About 100 miles. And
Would you walk
well,
500 more?
well, the problem was I was like, all right, I know I at least got another 100 till the next area. I need that's where the gas is at. Yeah, I thought I had a lot more I thought I had a canister full. It was empty. So I ended up having to walk this 100 miles, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting hungry. And I look, and I see some mushrooms that I mistook, and I ate those, and it gave me at least a bit of like, okay, I had something. So I started walking, and I saw some stars. It was pretty it was great. I met what I thought was an extinct lion. Was not. He was there. He appeared and he was talking to me. It was wild.
Now, this was an hallucination. Or,
I would believe so.
okay.
Because
we
like
both
I said,
know that
animals don't
can't
talk. It was. I had to come. That's the only way I came to terms with it. Because the animals don't talk.
No, it's blasphemous.
He told me I was a bit of a dick.
Rightfully so. No, not all the time, but rightfully so.
Yes.
If
And
you
then
were to talk to an animal, that's what I would assume they would say.
Well, it was early in my 20s. It was early. And then it was all fine and dandy
Now,
after that.
mine also involved a talking animal, which, as we all know, talking animals don't exist except for parrots. But as we all know, parrots are heathens and deserve to die. But mine, I was out at a lake with my friend Jeffrey, and we also partook in the mushrooms. We did not mistakenly partake. We were trying to enhance ourselves. And later on in the night, we were planning to go swimming in the lake. A little skinny dipping with the boys. But at that very moment when we were all about to go to the lake, Jeffrey's head turned into an owl. And I became terrified. So I said I needed to go home and go to sleep. But I did not know how to tell him this because I was afraid he would hate me forever. While I'm trying to figure it out, apparently Jeffrey looked at me and my face turned into something as well. So he said he also needed to leave. Now, mind you, we're camping at the time. We're at the lake.
Yes.
We're on an adventure.
Yes.
And we're on a trip. But we didn't really go home. We went to our camps, our tents, which were right next to each other, and proceeded to be terrified for the remainder of the night. I actually thought the owl was trying to get into my tent for about 3 hours, knowing full well that the owl used to be my friend Jeffrey. And it was terrifying. But I should have known at the time, hindsight's 20/20, animals don't talk, especially owls, so I should not have been afraid. I should have known everything that was going on.
They only say,
What do you think an American owl sounds like?
who?
Now, see, I was thinking racial slur. It's quite fun doing that accent, especially to make fun of them. But as our American counterparts, we also don't have the best of cameras. It's rugged, and we can take it on adventuring with us, as you can see by the trees behind us. And the bison, holy crap, when did the bison get here?
It is a buffalo.
It's an American buffalo. I'm sorry for insulting your American people.
He is a pig and talk shit.
That's why he came to us. But we have to do a mini transition here. We will see you in a moment. Now, Chewy, there were some allegations that the blue milk, from where you're from, isn't actually naturally blue. It's dyed with some artificial dyes that may be carcinogenics. Do you care to elaborate on that? This was a really dumb bit. So, we were reminiscing a little bit during our little transition. It took a little longer than we thought. And we were talking about that story, the one that took place in, where was it, Congolese?
No. Well, no, we were supposed to be going there, and we got distracted on this trip.
Yes.
This was a lot more. It was open safari. Not sure. I can't exactly remember where at the time because I've had a lot of somewhat encounters with elephants like this, but I want to say more like in the, I don't know.
Now I know it was somewhere in Africa. I believe it was in the, I want to say it was in the northern portion, but I'm not. Regardless,
Either way, yes.
Regardless, we were reminiscing about this elephant because it reminded us of, which I'm sure you all remember, episode 72,
Yes.
72 of our podcast,
Yes.
where we did the two drunkards, where we just did way too many shots while we were trying to record. Went off the rails completely.
Too much.
Your girlfriend tried to come in and wrangle us out of the room when we were done because we kept going after we finished recording.
It was not good.
The elephant was, by and large, the same. But to give a little context, because we talked about this during the transition, you didn't hear any of that, obviously. An elephant, which we did not know at the time, had gotten very, very drunk, very intoxicated.
We got a call that so we get this call that says, "Hey, there's an elephant that has just passed out in our yard,
Completely.
just is sleeping and will not move. We can't. When he gets to wake up, he just kind of throws his trunk at us, and we can't get close.
Violent.
Kind of violently. And so at this time, we're like, all right, what's going on? Where you at? We're gonna come out there. He tells us. We get, driver takes us out there. Show up, and we pull up to this house with a bunch of barrels everywhere, and I'm like, what is it? It was a brewery.
I can't remember if they were making rum or whiskey, but it was a hard liquor.
Yeah, some kind of maybe even just wine, but or not. Well, or
it wasn't wine. It was a spirit for sure.
Some kind of a spirit, but
strong,
very strong. So this elephant, we quickly realized, and he didn't want to tell us because it's not like it was exactly legal what he's doing, and.
Shout out Jeffrey. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. His name was Steve. An African named Steve. That's a great name.
It changes. It stands out. But just like his priorities. But we proceed to tell him obviously it's obviously drunk whatever's in there the last night. So. And he's very hungover and angry. So we're trying to think of ways to get him out. And I'm like, hey, who's got any food at all? Because we're going to need it. And maybe let's leave a trail. Let's see if we can leave a trail of crumbs.
I had the bright idea to try to get behind the elephant and give it a little nudge. Get it on its way. I don't know if you've ever stood behind an elephant or seen videos of circuses. You never, ever want to be behind an elephant. I'm sure you can put two and two together.
Yes.
That happened to me. I was wearing a white outfit at the time. It was no longer white.
Very mud.
Oh, yes, mud indeed.
Mud.
All muddy. It was poop.
He got kicked very hard.
Yes, the elephant shat all upon me.
Well, yeah.
It did start to move.
You got him to move.
I did.
He stood up. He was very angry at you. He kind of kicked at you, and then, he'd be released really quick. And then you got him going. He kind of started going at the food trail, and then he was also really angry and just kind of started running. And after that, it was mayhem. Just fucking everyone going everywhere. I'm just yelling at him like, hey, we love you. We're trying to help you. We can't, stop. And he didn't. He just rampaged through this fucking village. And luckily not too much house damage. But he definitely put his touch through a couple people's windows. It was a bit fun. It was a bit loud. Eventually, he was able to kind of just run in a direction that there was no danger, and
that we know of.
Find a way to cure his hangover.
It was intense.
Well, it's quite a shitty situation for you. Unfortunately, I mean, for us, we came out pretty unharmed. I was a little scared. He got a bit close to me because he
went in your direction.
I was laying out the food line, and I had a backpack full of fucking lettuce.
And what elephants you need?
We had it.
I don't know.
It was brought to us.
Weirdly enough, that's the only elephant I've seen. I know, with the amount of safaris we've gone on and adventures we've had, never seen an elephant. I've seen a dwarf.
That's fun.
That was just a little person, though. That's the correct term, yes?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
As a Briton, I don't really care. As an American, I would. Very much so. But as a British person, I can say whatever I wish.
But for me, I've had 1 or 2 encounters with elephants. A lot more of them are calmer. Help. One gets stuck, you kind of try to help him get him out. That's not very common, but it happened once or twice.
Yes.
I remember one time.
Do you?
Yes.
Have you heard about how they're planning to bring back the woolly mammoth?
Kinda.
It is terrifying, but intriguing. I hope they do.
I would
Wonderful to
love.
bring an animal back from extinction.
I would love it. You know what? Bring back nature. This world needs more nature. We use this podcast to talk about important things and tell you great stories about animals so you can understand our love of them and love for them. And we should conserve.
We should conserve, preserve, and enhance. We need to return the world to what it was. Of course, I love our luxuries. We're using a camera made out of plastic.
We're using this to talk about it. You got to use what's there.
We might
adapt, evolve.
We would more than anything. Even if we were Americans, we would want the world safe.
Bring it back. I say that we bring it back because I love the idea that they're bringing the woolly mammoth back because it adds another predator that's that much harder to take care of. And we'll bring it back, let it get back to its regular species, and then hopefully use that same stuff to keep bringing back more things.
Now I've got 2 points as well. It reminded me of this. Did you know that crocodiles, alligators, the animals of your land, did you know that they are actually theorized to be older than we thought? And they might have actually been around during the time of dinosaurs.
Yes.
Same with sharks, some whales. Actually, no, I don't believe whales were because mammals, but I believe sharks. I know the megalodon. Everyone knows of that one.
Mm-hmm. Well,
not real, mind you. Not real.
Weirdly enough, you're kind of explaining our outfits because
yes,
it's a dinosaur.
The dinosaur marshals.
The dinosaur marshals. And that's because as I love crocodiles and I'm especially saw them, I think they're dinosaurs. They're the most accurate version of dinosaurs, so I love a dinosaur uniform.
Now, see, I'm on a similar spectrum. I don't think they're the most accurate depiction of dinosaurs. I believe they are a close depiction, maybe a cousin to the dinosaurs. I believe the most accurate depiction we have to dinosaurs that are still alive today, which your people had a very fun experience with. I believe it was after World War I, if I'm not mistaken, where you lost a war to the emu.
Yes. Well,
would you not also agree that those terrifying but lovely creatures are the closest depiction we have to, say, the
I would agree.
velociraptors?
I do love me a good emu.
They're terrifying.
Terrifying. But also they can be loving. They can be loving. I remember one time.
It depends on how they're raised.
I'm gonna give you a good story. That'll show you some appreciation for the love that you can have for an emu. So, one time, I'm out there, somewhere just out in desert, some village. Try not to, exploit the village's names. So, there's an emu.
There's a cup holder.
He's hungry. Yes. Forget there's a cup holder.
Perfect.
So there's an emu that just kind of somewhat of a friendly emu around the village. He leaves eggs. They don't. No one messes with him. He's had a couple babies. He's been nice. Well, he's a father.
He laid the eggs.
He helped protect the eggs.
Okay, I needed to clarify a little.
Yes, I hope you know
about the emu.
Yes, well, he was nice. So we go over there, and I'm trying to help him set up because I know the mom is getting ready to birth some eggs soon. And I'm like, all right, well, I should, while I'm here, I'd love to make a bonding moment with these two. So I bring over a lot of, like, brush for a nest.
Help with the nesting, yes.
Yes. And he's kind of nice, and he kind of starts taking it. And as he's taking it, he kind of wraps his neck around my head. Because he's like, appreciation. So I just keep bringing it over. And then eventually they both kind of let me pet him. It was very nice. And then he started trying to peck at me because he started smelling I had some jerky in my pocket.
See, that's
it was not a good idea.
You have that
it hurt
so many times when we go out.
It's a problem.
I warn you constantly, but you always have food on you. And mind you, I love it as well because I get some of those snacks. But the animals try to get some of those snacks.
See, the thing is they can't smell it until you open it.
But you always have it open.
I get hungry, and it's a problem. But I need substance. It makes me last, so I can the heat. I can't survive the heat without me jerky. You know what? I always need a good jerky before I go out into the heat of the safari.
It is. We don't have very much jerky where I'm from. I do enjoy your jerky. I love when you give me a little bit of jerky.
It's a good jerky.
It's a great jerky, mind you. Now, I love a good banger. Whenever I go out, I'll get 2, maybe 3, 4 solid bangers in before I go.
Agreed.
But a jerky, those are good. They're portable. Can't really be bringing around a banger. Can't have a banger in public.
No, you can't have the smell.
It's too juicy. Too much.
Too much.
But
a jerky, you can, as long as you got it wrapped in some plastic, you can really
come in a baggie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can, it's easy to throw away, clean up real quick. You don't got to worry about it. And that way it's last minute, you know. It's like if you've been out there for a long time, you've been stuck. You don't know when you're going to get some food. So you're like, all right, it's been like 9 hours.
Oh, it's been 2.
You know what? I know we're going back, and I know the animals in the area. I take my chances that they're not going to fight me. They like me.
Except for that one time.
That one time.
Yes. And, well, many a times, but
once in a while.
Specifically of an animal trying to fight you. Do you not remember the kangaroo? The first time I came to visit you. The very first time. You said, let me show you the animals in Australia. And as a British person and someone who's been on the internet enough, I know that Australian animals are scary.
Well,
you walked right up to a kangaroo and he immediately wanted your jerky.
Unfortunately, that was more of a case that he could see it, not smell it. It wasn't opened, but he saw something in my pocket and he got interested. So he kind of started trying to do a pick at me and looking at me. And he has little Roo, so I couldn't it was a little, couldn't necessarily get too close. So all of a sudden, he starts picking at me jerky. And I'm like, no, you can't have me jerky. And he keeps going at it. And I'm like, hey, stop. I kind of gave him a little shove. And he didn't like that. So he kind of starts trying to rear back like he's going to kick me. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I do a duck. And I run. I'm like, hey, fuck you. No. Hey, fuck you, no. And he... You know what he did? You know what he says? You know what he says to me?
He says nothing.
He says nothing. He just tries to kick me in the fucking nods again. And I'm like, hey, no.
Animals can't talk. But, fun fact, kangaroos can box. They're the one animal who cannot talk the talk, but can sure shit walk the walk.
They walk the walk.
Dude, so that kangaroo would have ruined you.
Well, he did throw 1 or 2. He gave me a good 1, 2, and then tried to kick. It was impressive. I believe he was... I want to believe at some point he had watched Bruce Lee.
Yeah, from what I was seeing.
From a distance, he was fighting like Bruce Lee. It was pretty hard. I was just dodging. It's hard. It's hot. He didn't get me jerky.
He didn't get you, Jerky.
And I ate it right in front of him. I was like, hey, fuck you. And I ate it. And I was like, no. And I gave him the rapper. And then he kind of just threw another punch at me. And I ran like a bitch.
Now, I'm having a stutter.
It's
having a
fine.
stroke. It's sort of having. Oh. That's a British stroke for you Americans. Now, we're getting a little late into the episode, and we have to be up early. We have another
long safari.
I don't like calling them adventures, but that's what they are. We're getting up at the crack of dawn, and we're going out to the river now. So we're going to have to continue on to our next segment that we do on every episode. What is your animal of the week?
Animal of the week. I love a good koala. I actually, we don't, we're pretty far in, 200 episodes in. And
I'm shocked you have not talked to the koala yet.
That's why, because honestly, to me, it's one of the most very known. We don't talk about it a lot. We like to talk about things that people don't really know, like your Keki bear, the cute little, this how they're so adorable. The Keki bear,
You're soft.
so soft, loving. But now they're known, we're good. I'd like to say we help with that. And then after that, I was like, you know what? It's about time we talked about the koala. But they're fun, but they're so dangerous.
A vast majority of them have syphilis.
Yes, they have the clap.
They also have, I don't know the details of it, but the way they process eucalyptus leaves is very, very similar to how we process marijuana.
Yes,
meaning
they like to have
they
the
are
fun.
stoned constantly. 80% of their diet
Is eucalyptus.
is eucalyptus.
Yes. No, they and that's one of the things I kind of like about them is that, you know what? They're always on adventure. They're always on adventure and they're always looking to fuck.
Yes, that's why they have so much
They-
syphilis.
They spread it like wildfire, and that's what it feels like. They click, and then they hurts, and they
But that's why they eat
eucalyptus.
the eucalyptus.
You don't necessarily worry about your burn if you're tripping.
You can't worry
all
about
the
burn
time.
when you burn. As the Americans
And if
used to
everyone's
say.
burning,
That's
you don't
just a
need to put
burning
the
man.
fire out,
You don't need to put
as the Americans would say.
Well, America's on fire enough as it is. I don't think they need anyone burning.
They said something like, if your hut's burning, you don't put the fire out.
You just spread the fire to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Now, I've clearly forgotten my animal of the week. I had one lined up. You got me on
Sorry.
koala talk.
Koala they're
I
great.
do love a good koala. I have a koala tattooed right there on my thigh. It has a heart that says beer in the middle.
Makes sense.
Not sure why. I'm more of a tea drinker myself.
Bit of a mistake when you weren't drinking the tea, I guess, and getting a bit of whiskey with a guy who likes some beer.
Pulled an elephant is what I did. Got too much into the barrels. But my animal of the week, I'm putting myself on the spot because I've forgotten the one that I had chosen. I would say, not a bear, but similar. It's named after a panda. It's the red panda. Another cute animal. The reason they're my animal of the week is because of how they try to scare each other off. They basically stand up as big as they can, bipedal, reach their arms out, as if a come at me bro, as the Americans would say, a little come at me bro,
Yes, it's a bit. They try to intimidate.
But they're called red pandas, and you would think a panda is a large animal. The red panda is a little tiny stuffed teddy. Very small. 2 feet tall when it stands up on its hind legs.
Yes.
And it does a cute little come at me bro, but it looks like it's saying, give me a hug, pick me up. And I love them so
They're
much.
adorable. And I can agree to that. They're a little mischievous. They're pretty fun. I love them. They're good choice. Good choice.
Same with the koalas.
Thank
Now,
you, sir.
Going back to koalas, I had a friend who, an American friend, his elementary school was Geronimo Road, named after a well-known Native American, Geronimo. Many people know him as the one who jumped off the cliff screaming his own name, which may not be accurate. Many historians disagree that he did that. He was held in prison right next to where the school was, which is why the school was named Geronimo Road. But they were initially the Geronimo Road Indians. And they had a lot of Native American people everywhere as their mascot.
Wow.
And then someone got offended, so they changed the name, rightfully so. I would hate if it was,
Yes, agreed.
The Churchill Road Brits. That would be dumb. But they changed it to the Koalas. They kept all the Native American mascots everywhere, but they were the Koalas now. And they had this real fun thing where if you got a goodie card for being good that month, it was called a Quality Kid. And I loved it. And that kid told me all about it. He never once got to be Quality Kid of the Month. He got it for the week once. Only because everybody got it for the week.
At least once.
At least once.
But you didn't get the month.
He always wanted that. You got a little ribbon with a koala on it. Maybe that's why he wanted to get a koala tattooed on his thigh. He's processing some childhood drama through a British persona right now.
That's pretty great. But you know what? We told you our animals. We gave you some stories. Love the animals. Protect the animals. We've always said that. Thank you to the buffalo for what you provide. Thank you to the crocs. Thank you for all the animals out there. Bring back the mammoth.
Bring back the saber-toothed tiger.
Bring it all back. Let's fight. Let's go. Thank you to our callers. And, well, you guys have a good week. And you protect the wildlife.
Yeah. We'll see you on our next episode. We love you. And we appreciate you.
Good boy.